Welcome to Touchdown Labs Draft Series, episode number 1. This is my first episode, guys. Going to be breaking down 100 prospects for you over the next couple of months. Ton of mock drafts to come about, and today I'm starting my first episode with Will Johnson. This is my second ranked corner in the draft. Now, you can find Will Johnson likely ranked from various different sources, anywhere from, the third best player in the draft going all the way down to the 10th. For Touchdown Labs, we ranked him at number 8, and this is our first ranking of the year. Please bear in mind, these rankings will change as I go through and we watch film. I'm going to review film with you guys. I'm going to review film with myself. I'm going to review film with some of my peers. Shout out to all the guys who are doing work already. Shout out to Tuck and Lou for showing me how to even get film in the first place, and some of the other guys that have been supporting as well. So you'll find me back here, and drafting is my thing. I love drafting. I love going through everything with you guys, and I got two pieces of paper here, and I'll just throw them up on the screen. One of these is from me last year, just on my own time, writing down what the top needs are for every team. And really, another piece here is just this is what I do, guys. I sit down here and I rank these players for fun. I try to see how close I can be to, mocking them to the right team, finding the right situation for them, and really figuring out who's going to be the next star player in the NFL. Now, let's start with Will here, and we're going to go ahead and get into some of the film. But before I get into the film for Will Johnson, I just want to bring up his scouting report and go through that with the group. So we're going to start here with the Draft Network. I'm going to pull up two separate scouting reports so we can go through both of them and see what they are stating about our corner here, Will Johnson. He's 6'2", 202 pounds. He's a first-team All-American. First team Big All 10, defensive MVP of the national championship game in 2023, which is huge, and defensive freshman of the year in 2023 as well. Here's a quote. Will Johnson is a number 1 lockdown caliber corner prospect who can blanket opposing wide receivers because of his instincts and athleticism, coverage ability, and he epitomizes the impact player and difference maker. Now, when we're talking about a number 1, number 2, or number 3 corner coming off the board, I think that's exactly what you want. You want a day 1 starter, you want somebody who can line up against the other team's best receiver, and you want someone who's going to be an impact player from the moment that you draft them. Keep in mind, top corners from other drafts, someone that was ranked around number 1 to 4 was Jalen Ramsey, right? So these are the types of corners that are going this high in the draft process. The combine will affect Will Johnson quite a bit as well in terms of his stock, since he's so close to that top 5 to top 10 marking. He will probably shift quite a bit depending on his combine numbers and what comes out there. But in terms of his strengths, technical refinement, we got great closing burst, speed. He's a lockdown cornerback. He has scheme versatility, can play and cover 1, 2, 3 man press. And he also has a ton of ball hawking potential, which we'll cover in some film as well. Now, in terms of concerns, he does have some concerns with his his hips turning and locating to the ball. Doesn't mean he's not a ball hawk, but he does have some transition issues that we'll go through. And it says his two-hand punches and press coverage are a concern. I don't think they are, but I think press coverage is something that he can improve on. And consistency as an open field one-on-one tackler, let's be honest, everybody going into the NFL can likely improve on this as well. So, former 5-star recruit, he's entering the NFL as one of the top blue chip prospects in the draft. And let's take note here, Deion Johnson, his father, who was also a defensive back at Michigan, helped them get to 3 Big Ten championships early in the 90s. So he is coming from a bloodline of DBs. Deion Johnson was also a DB as well, and he has likely taught him things that other folks wouldn't learn at such a young age. So he offers the potential to be an outside lockdown corner, which has elite length. Remember, guys, he's 6'2", and when we're comparing him to Travis Hunter, he's 6'2", 202 pounds. Travis Hunter is 6'1", 185, so a little slimmer than Travis Hunter is a little slimmer than what Will Johnson's coming in as. And ball hawking corner, 9 interceptions in his 3-year career. He shows those ball hawking instincts. Something you'll see here as my own con that you'll see on the right-hand side is he's a gambler. Sometimes, you'll see this happening. he tends to gamble and he can lose, and that can be a bad thing. But he has 9 interceptions in college over 3 years, and it seems to be when he does choose to gamble more than often, he is successful. Effectively playing man to man coverage with patience. He's remaining square. He has good footwork. He uses peer and mirror steps to shadow his receiver at the line of scrimmage, and he can mirror receivers, not overreact to their movements. And he has strong football IQ as well, and he thrives at taking away something to chase something. So uses a strong punch to quickly jam his receiver on the outside, squeeze him to the sideline, and then use that sideline to his advantage. In zone, he's special, smooth backpedaling, downhill and explosive trigger and burst to get to the ball. He has his ability to play from his depths, landmarks, and bait QBs into throwing dangerous out routes, and that's a great strength to his game. So, without further ado, we'll go into this other scouting report here and see what they have to say about Will Johnson as well. So, here he's also coming in, same measurables 6'2, 202. He's a junior, and they also have him ranked behind Travis Hunter's corner as their top corner. So his role, outside man, press coverage, cornerback. Um, he's at about a 4.44, so we'll see how he fares at the combine there. And he's a young player. He's born in 2003. Let's go through his draft profile here. Tackling, they have him about 62%. Run defense, 79%. A knock on him was that he could improve his tackling. His coverage and zone is at 85 and 75% respectively, and man and press is at 82. So, in terms of where he's going to go, it says top 10, and I definitely agree with that. His overall ranking is number 10 for the draft buzz, and we're pretty close at TD Labs. Like I said, we have him at number 8 for now. He's played 31 college games, taken about 12 to 1,300 snaps, and some other folks that are rating him. He has about a 6.1 rating on Rivals, 97 out of 100 on 24/7, and ESPN's 88 out of 100 there as well. So rated quite high on everyone's prospect ranking lists. And this is interesting, guys. Some comparisons, right? JC Horn was supposed to be also a top lockdown corner coming out, and he had some injuries, and he's seemed to get back to his, projections in terms of where he was going to be in the league. Kare Elam and Cam Smith, those are two individuals as well that he's been comp to. So in terms of his story here, this is just going on about his father as well, who played for Michigan. He solidified his status as one of the premier corners in his junior year. Unfortunately, he had that turf toe injury, but he still was able to get 2 picks that year while earning second team All American honors as well. So consistency in big moments shows up repeatedly for him, and the bloodline runs deep. Right? We talked about this. He created his own path. His father might have played for Michigan, but he went there, and he had a role to step in. He had somebody to talk to in terms of his father and how to succeed in that role, and he's done that here in Michigan as well. He's dominated both sides of the ball in high school. So something I want to point out here as well is he was a former wide receiver, 42 catches, 667 yards, 6 TDs as a senior. He has hands, right? So that's another reason that we call him a ball hawker. And you see here on his pros that there's ball hawking potential. So they got his strengths, rare blend of size, lead IQ, nasty competitive streak and press coverage, likes to get his hands on you, exceptional ball skills, patient technician, brings running backs physicality to tackling, steps downhill, bad intentions, consistently wraps up with proper form. Lots of teams are needing this at the cornerback position, especially from a number one corner who also has the ability to lock their number one wide receiver down. But not only that, and not suffer in the run game and have their running backs kind of tee off on them and have a game plan towards that to make them unsuccessful. So, special awareness near the boundary. We talked about that, him using his punch, using his hands to kind of bait QBs into throwing that out route. And he's versatile. But when it comes to his weaknesses, there aren't many, but there are some down here. And he gets a little bit grabby if he's losing down the field. He won't rely on his catch up speed, and it's something he can improve on. He may get caught peeking in the backfield as well because, like I said, we've called him a gambler and said that he likes to bait quarterbacks into throws. And his missed tackle rate ticked up as a junior. He tends to drop his head. That's something I don't think is a concern at all. It's something that can be refined in an NFL program. Press technique needs refinement, relies more on athleticism than consistent hand placement. This, again, I think being in an NFL program around NFL coaches and other experienced veterans, he'll be able to pick this one up no problem at all. So let's get into some film. And I'm going to start with some early film on Will Johnson. And really, what I want to start with is him coming out of high school and getting drafted and, getting picked up by Michigan. He was on Rivals and he was a huge prospect as well coming out of high school. So let's go over this and see what he looks like. Obviously, Will's in the white here, and this looks like some kind of Under Armour combine or something like that, where they're going ahead and competing against each other. So you can see him backpedal. You can see his transition. It's quite quick. Nice hands. Former receiver. And these are the drills that he's going to be doing at the combine as well. So the fact that, he's already used to this and his father's already kind of put him through it, it sets him up for success in terms of testing and making sure he can keep that draft stock up there. I want to go over this interception here as well that Will had against Michael Penix. So this is a game you can see Washington's 14-0, Michigan's 14-0 as well. They're in the college football national championship. Don't forget, folks, that I told you guys he was the defensive MVP here. Okay. So not only did he play really well in this game, he got the MVP on his side of the ball. And Michael Penix is now a starting quarterback in the NFL, and the Atlanta Falcons have chose to move forward with him. So the fact that they are moving forward with him, this just shows that Will can do this against NFL caliber talent. Penix pump fakes, lets it go. There's a lot of pressure, and another thing I'm going to point out as well, and it's fair to say, fair criticism to have, there are two elite D linemen on Michigan that are causing pressure in the last 2 years and making life easier for the defensive cornerbacks in the secondary. Mason Graham is the number 2 prospect on my list here coming out of the draft. And then we also have, I actually have Mason as 3 and Gianti as 2, but we also have another individual, Kenneth Grant, who's on the defensive line, and he is also supposed to get picked here in the first round. So I want you guys to keep that in mind when we're watching this. You're going to see this pressure leads to an early throw, but Will is taking advantage of this. Lots of NFL teams have the ability to do this. We talked about Will baiting quarterbacks into running this out route. You can see he's already ran the route for this wide receiver. It's gotten to the point where he makes a fantastic interception here. And let's just take a look at the replay. Keep in mind, guys, Michael Penix was also picked in the first round, so this isn't a bum out here throwing him this ball. And Mason Graham is getting called out here to go ahead and push. And guys, this is a 4-man rush, right? So keep in mind when this is happening, we are getting a lot of pressure from these two interior linemen creating and forcing this throw. And you'll see Will Johnson, he is making sure he leaves his man wide open here. He is the last line of defense, but he is breaking in extremely hard. And he's able to. Sorry, let's go back there for 1 second. This individual who's the safety is the last line of defense, Will Johnson, is, I don't even know why Michael Penix would decide to throw this. Like, the depth isn't even there. And to think you can lob it over him, terrible throw. This is a receiver in him where he's able to control and complete the process of the catch. I'm going to bring up another piece of film here as well. And guys, doing the best that I can in terms of getting this college film. But for Will, shout out to NFL Film Room here. NFL Film Room did some awesome work. They are, breaking down players like no tomorrow. If you guys ever need any highlights and stuff, this is my plug. Thanks NFL Film Room for letting me use this. But you'll see here, and we'll go back. Will Johnson. Not only will you see him lining up 10 yards deep, you'll see him lining up on man. This is where his scheme versatility comes in. So he's giving a lot of room to this wide receiver who's running this dig or crossing route, and he is just breaking in front of him right before. And guys, this is not easy when the receiver already has a step on you to start behind him and to get in front. So that pops out to me, and he's going to go ahead and have a massive return here as well. He is making life for the quarterback extremely difficult because that wide receiver looked for a second like he could be thrown open, and Will Johnson has that recovery speed behind him to be able to make that play. Here again, let's take a look. He's lined up about 10 yards back. He's not getting faked out by this little double move stutter here, and he's able to continue running down this go route down the field and make sure that he's using that sideline as something that he can use as, a way for him to make sure he's making the play. This was one of the things that we talked about when we went through his scouting report earlier. Was one of the pros that he had was he's able to use the boundary to his advantage, and you can see that with the go route that was thrown there on the double move. Now here again, we're gonna have Will Johnson on the outside. He's actually covering in the slot here. And other than that being a bad throw, we'll just chalk that one up as the quarterback wasn't, really doing a fantastic job. Here as well, you'll see that he's starting off in the slot. So not only is he working receivers on the outside, he's also working receivers here on the inside. He's able to use that 5 yards to his advantage, keep his physicality, and make sure that that receiver is not able to get the ball. Another clip where he's starting 10 yards back here, using this boundary to his advantage. And not only that, he's playing his zone, right? So he has his zone over here that he needs to take care of. This defender looks like he's to cover the flat, and it looks like the safety is going to go back and make sure that, if this wide receiver chooses to peel off, he will go ahead and take that responsibility on. This is where, guys, the instincts of a number one corner come in. This is not his zone, right? He sees that someone is creeping into this flat zone. Number 7 is way behind, and the ball and where the QB has released the ball is definitely not going as far down the sideline as this receiver. So he uses his instincts to take that first step and make sure he can get that interception. Guys, that's special stuff. This is the difference that ranks the top, second, third corner in the draft between the 20th and 30th prospect, right? Having the ability to make these decisions. Now we're going to see Will on the goal line here as well. He's lined up quite close to this receiver. He's going to follow him. And this is a regular throw in the NFL, right? Where they try to isolate the wide receiver, get that ball into the corner of the end zone. And you can see Will Johnson's able to complete this play and make sure that this wide receiver is not able to complete the catch. Again, goal line situation. They're going to run a slant. They try to do a natural pick play with this other DB here as well. But Will's holding on, man. And he's holding on to that shoulder, making sure this wide receiver feels that physicality. Here as well, I love it that he can line up 10 yards back and be that ball hawking corner, but I also love that he'll be all up in your face and put his hand on you, punch you, and use that boundary for his advantage. Here, being physical, receivers trying to run a comeback route, he's not letting it happen, right? He's with him the whole way. And that quarterback thinks that he has an easy out to complete this pass, but Will Johnson makes sure that he's on top of that. Now we're switching it up, right? And that's scheme versatility for us right here, where we're seeing Will Johnson now lined up again in the 10 yards back, and he's playing a zone, and he's able to notice that this quarterback letting this ball go towards this boundary rather than this individual over here, okay? And because he does that, Will Johnson makes on this break. And this is his instincts coming in. Guys, this is why I say it's so important for these players that come from a bloodline where they're father, grandfather, or somebody in their family played a position. These are the little things that they teach them that have them become elite players. These are instincts that can't be taught at a young age. Playing your zone and being able to break and being fast enough to get there and make a play on the ball. Another situation here where they're trying to run an in, not so much of a slant, but really like a 5 yard in. And this is where his scouting report said that he baits the quarterbacks to do this, right? So he's just going to stand there as soon as he sees the receiver take his step in on the 25-yard line to go into the middle of the field. He is going to cut that and follow him and make sure that he's able to intercept that ball there as well. So lots of good things that I'm seeing from him here. Um, wow. So here's Will Johnson, and he's in run defense here, right? So he is stacked up. This wide receiver is trying to create this block on him. Look at the physicality he has when he's tackling this running back. I love that. You don't see that much from corners these days where they're big enough to do it. And he's 200 pounds, 6'2". He has the length and the body type to be able to be a physical presence in the run game. Love here how he just stops, reads the quarterback, assesses the situation. He is a ball hawk and he is a gambler. You can tell he is making sure that whether it goes to the receiver in front of him or the receiver behind him, he's going to have an option to pick off that ball. So this is fantastic work here by him. And this is one of the ones that we just went through on his highlight tape where we watched that separately, and we said that was his wide receiver hands kind of coming in and making sure he completed the catch. Here he is in run support again. He is lined up one-on-one, right? And this situation, how many times do we see this happen in the NFL where they're lined up one-on-one? Will Johnson against a running back, but he is physical and he's putting his head down. He's not scared to make the tackle. He wants to be there. Another big game highlight, national championship game. Will Johnson going ahead and making sure that that guy is not able to catch the ball and he's blanketed. Really, when I'm looking at the film, guys, he's a shutdown corner. I gave you the JC Horn comparison from NFL Draft Buzz, but honestly, he's looking like the next Patrick Surtain. And it might be a crazy take for me to say that right now, but Will Johnson's looking like a steal for anybody that takes Travis Hunter. And there's another team that needs a top lockdown corner. You got one in the draft, and he is not only a force in the pass game, but he is also a physical player in the run game. And in today's NFL, where we see that physicality declining, this is one of the rare prospects, blue chip players at a position of value, right? I want to talk about that as well. Just look at Will trail this guy step for step. No chance for him to get the ball or get open. And here you're going to say, yeah, well, he got beat on this route. He's in zone, guys. He's covering the flat, and he actually didn't follow that receiver and was able to make sure that this running back's not able to catch that easy first down. Another play where he's 10 yards back, and he's on top of that corner there, right? Making sure that that corner is on top of that wide receiver there, making sure that wide receiver is unable to catch a pass or even get that look from his own quarterback. So, guys, I'm going to go ahead and stop there. That was my film review so far on Will. And we're going to go ahead and re-rank these players, right? I'm going to go ahead and do these again and again. This won't be my last or first breakdown on Will Johnson. I'll be going over Will. I'll be doing it. The next video is going to be on Abdul Carter. I wanted to wait until Penn State got eliminated from the playoffs in order for me to do that. So really excited to do Abdul Carter next. He is my number one edge. Guys, like, comment, subscribe. Love all the feedback. If you guys want me to break down another player, please tell me who it is. And sooner or later, I'll do a mock on here as well. So you'll see where I think these players are going to go starting in early January. And looking forward to this season, looking forward to this draft season. And hopefully, I will see you guys at the 2025 draft. TD Labz out.